Hello, my fellow YouTubers and subscribers. Long time no speak. It has been a while. It's just me, your pal, Payjack's Perspective. As you know, the channel is technically. Didn't mean to do that. The channel is technically shut down, but I do keep it open for Q&As. And yeah, this is another one of those. I don't know why I said that because there's only one person here. Hello, nice to see you. Nice. It's been a while. Sorry, I've not been around recently. I've had some personal difficulties. It's not to do with my weight, actually. It's to do with family issues. I can't go into it right now. It's a bit personal, but it has been quite the last month or so, honestly. Oh, I do wonder sometimes. So I'll just wait for a few more people to arrive before I consider continuing with this, because there's no point doing this with only 3 people, unless these 3 people have several questions. Yo, awesome. How's it going? I can't remember the last time I did one of these. It's been a while. I mean, I might well look a little bit different, or maybe I don't. I'm not too sure. Last year I lost a lot of weight, so I don't quite know if I put any weight on or not. My health hasn't been the least of my concerns at the moment. I have a family member who's currently ill, so it's a little bit difficult at the moment. Well, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. WWE core battles. I'm not sure who you are, but I have another movie review channel. I was going to make an announcement about it, but I haven't had the time. So I am reviewing movies again, but on a different channel. I'm doing audio podcasts because I don't have the time to record myself and edit my own videos anymore. I just don't have the time because I'm at university, I have a job, I have too many other commitments, basically. And I've had a stressful time as well with personal family issues. So the link is in the description of this video. Subscribe to Payjack's Podcasts. It's the same surname. It's me. It's my voice. I do voice recordings. The videos are more for audio purposes. They're not really videos. I suppose they are just audio podcasts. But it's unfortunately all I can do. So please do respect that. If you're not interested in that, then you can watch all the old content on this channel. Sorry about that, but I have to go with what I can physically do. But yeah, I'm still reviewing movies. And the other channel that I'm using is Payjack Productions, which is my filmmaking channel, which if you go onto, there's a teaser trailer for my upcoming film, Financial Temptation. Thank you, Dinobot. So you will get to see more content from me across those 2 channels. This one, I'm only really keeping it for the live streams, to be honest. So I will occasionally check back in. So that was it, really. Once again, another Q&A. I haven't done this for a while, so as usual, you may ask me whatever you want. If it's too personal, I'll say, no, sorry, I'm not prepared to answer that. And if I don't know or have an answer, then I will say as well. I don't always have an answer for everything, unfortunately. But it is what it is. Hello, Cusack Studios. Yeah, I haven't forgotten about your thing that you asked me to do. It's been a while. Yeah, you might have to private message me on Facebook because yeah, I've got so much going on. It's unreal. So let's begin. I haven't seen the trailer for The Lion King Mufasa yet. I saw the poster. I mean, to be honest, it's going to be exactly the same quality as the remake, in that it's going to be shit. Oh God, yeah, and I didn't like the Lion King remake, so I doubt I'm going to like this prequel. The Lion King honestly should stay where it belongs, that is as an animated film, or to a further extent, an animated trilogy. The new film is going to be a Santezana squash banana, in the words of Rafiki. I'll certainly squash it like a banana, that's for sure. Awesome. Look, you asked me all these Godzilla questions. I'm really sorry. I just don't know. I watched the movies, but I can't remember each and every single design. They all look the same to me. To give you an answer, I will say his newer design in the latest two films, I like, but that's all I can say. I have no other knowledge on Godzilla. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm not a super fan like you are. But I did see the new film. I have reviewed Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire on my other channel. Check that out. How's filming going? Yeah, it's going well, actually, to be fair. We've made significant progress. I'm making a feature movie called Financial Temptation, which is a heist movie. Due for release at Christmas. Not sure if we'll get it done by then, but we'll see. I'd say we're about a quarter of the way there. I did a massive filming in February on a weekend in which we filmed loads of club scenes. We didn't go to an actual club. We went to a little village hall. But my uncle is a DJ, and he's also playing the DJ in the movie. He used his massive lighting setup, and we took full advantage of that. And in the trailer, you'll see some of the club shots. Some of them do look very beautiful, I have to say. Who's that messaging me on Facebook? Oh, hello. Yes, it's you, Paul Cusack. I'll reply to you later. But yes, I'm keen to get more done as I go on. There are a few little bits and pieces to do. There's a few big bits as well, including a big fight sequence, which involves not 2, but 3 people. And it's a 3-way fight, so that's going to be interesting. But anyway, next question. Oh, not a question. My distant lover is trying to get me into Harry Potter. Well, I mean, the creatures are just part of the world building. They're not necessarily characters. I mean, some of them are, like Dobby. And Buckbeak, I guess you could argue, is a character. But a lot of them are there to serve the world. Most of the characters in Potter are human. It's mainly the elves that talk. They're the creatures that talk, specifically. So I'd say do your research. I mean, your lover, or distant lover, whatever, don't know the situation, should have told you that most of the characters in Harry Potter that talk are human. I mean, yeah. Good. Nice to see you too, Daniel. Yeah, the Furiosa movie. I might check that out, actually. You know, I think Anya Taylor-Joy looks cool. I'm not a huge Mad Max fan. I saw what's the last one called? Something like Fury Road. I saw that in the cinema. I've not seen the original trilogy, so I might watch the movies when I get time and review them before the new one comes out. I don't know if Furiosa is supposed to be a prequel or a spin-off. I'm not entirely sure where it falls in the timeline, but the previous Mad Max film was batshit crazy. So, yeah, it was very crazy at the time, and I didn't really know how I felt about it. So I'd need to watch it again to fully comprehend it, because it was a little bit too zany for my liking. Why have Disney fallen so hard? Oversaturation of content, perhaps. Quantity, not quality. See, if for example, let's compare it to the James Bond movies. Amazon now own the James Bond franchise along with Barbara Broccoli. Well, there's like shares involved or whatever, but the James Bond series pumps out one movie every few years because they like to get it right. Because it's an event movie, they want to make sure that they get it to the highest standard possible and that people will want to go and see it. Marvel have just not really cared recently. They've now decided to rethink what they're going to do and replan everything, because they used to just shove 3 movies out a year and it was getting tiring. So I guess that's my answer. If Disney were to just calm down a bit on the new releases, even on streaming, then it would be a little bit better. Because I don't have time to keep up with all these series. I haven't seen half these series that have dropped in the last few years because I just don't have time, and there's too much of it. And by the time it's out, I don't even know about it. I mean, at least they're all on streaming. Still, that's the only thing I can think of. But I do like a lot of Disney stuff, but sometimes it's not always great. You know, it's subjective opinion at the end of the day. Oh, thanks, Jared. Will Inside Out 2 be movie of the year? Certainly be the best animated film of the year. Well, I hope. It's got to be better than Kung Fu Panda 4, surely. That was a major disappointment. But I am really looking forward to Planet of the Apes, which is coming next month. Which actor do you think you've seen the most movies starring? Wow, that is a great question. Oh gosh, there's a lot to choose from. Arguably, in recent years, you could say Awkwafina because she's in fucking everything. In terms of actors I really like, I guess Ian McKellen would probably be one. He does get cast a lot in a lot of things. Oh gosh, who else? Yeah, there's also Hugh Jackman. I've seen quite a lot of his films. Johnny Depp, because he's in mostly everything that Tim Burton makes. Although he wasn't in Burton's Planet of the Apes, so it's not necessarily a bad thing because that movie was shit. There's a few. There's a few. But I'm going to go with Ian McKellen because I feel like he's been a longer serving actor and he gets cast in a lot of things. So with him, worst movie of the year so far. I didn't like Civil War that came out recently. Don't know if it's the worst movie of the year, but it's certainly down there. Bearing in mind I haven't actually seen everything that's come out this year. So for now, yeah, it's probably that one, Civil War. Moana, Disney making a Moana sequel as well as a remake. Say do one or the other. Why do both? Oh, of course, money. Moana 2 would be my preference because, yeah, it's dumb. It's just so dumb. I mean, of course, they're not going to release them in the same year. That would be even dumber. But people love the original so much, and the sequel is something that people have been looking forward to. No one asked for a remake, but I mean, to be honest, I'm not surprised that they're doing it because they're doing it with all of them. But I just wish Disney would try and create some original content. It's just been a ridiculous amount of remakes that kind of need to stop, if I'm being perfectly honest. Oh, I keep losing the questions. For fuck's sake, where have I... Could Kingdom be the best Planet of the Apes movie? Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but from how the trailer looks, it could be up there. It could be, at the very least, consistent with the last three films, because Rise, Dawn, and War are fantastic movies. All three of them, amazing films. So, I mean, it's arguably one of the best movie trilogies in recent years. So, Kingdom is supposed to be starting a new trilogy, I think. Visually, it looks absolutely stunning. Whether the script is as good, we'll see. It's a different direction this time. Matt Reeves is not doing it. It's Wes Ball, someone called Wes Ball. Apparently, he's done something like The Maze Runner. I've never seen that, but I look forward to it. Let's put it that way. I have hopes that it will be good, but we'll see. But currently, War for the Planet of the Apes is my favorite of the series. Oh, that's a great question. What's your favorite part of making a movie? Oh, gosh, there's lots of parts. But from my own experiences, I mean, I haven't actually worked on a high-budget set. I've had a couple of days' work experience as a runner. It is pretty tough. One shoot was smaller than the other one. But even doing a runner's job, 12 hours a day, it's pretty long. But my favorite parts are honestly, like most of it, because with my films, I write the script, I direct, I produce, I even act in my own films. So I do quite a lot, and I edit my own films. I think if I'm going to pick a favorite part, it's actually editing. I know it sounds sad because you're in a room on your own, alone, cutting it together. But I just love the idea of literally, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You're literally putting the pieces together. You're seeing this come together. But then there's also, for me, a joy of working with actors. So directing, I really like directing and seeing actors have the freedom to explore what you've written, especially as if it's your script. And as somebody who has been an actor and it is an actor, it's quite nice. And also being in scenes that I wrote, and I'm directing that I'm in, that's quite a juggling act. But yeah, the filming can take a long time, but if you've got the right project and the right team, it can be very rewarding. But post-production is my preferred avenue. That's what I hope to do after uni, but we will see. I've seen a few of the old Godzilla films many years ago. I mean, I can't remember them, but I think I did watch the Japanese one. It was quite good. I mean, again, you know, there's only so much you can really do with Godzilla, and I feel like the MonsterVerse or whatever you call it is basically struggling to think of anything new to do with the franchise. So that's my opinion on the matter. Oh, thank you for watching the trailer. Well, I'm glad that it gave you that impression because it's actually quite low budget. I didn't pay for that location. My uncle sorted that all out. because he sort of owns the hall. He sort of has connections with the hall that we filmed it in. But the lighting, he had that himself because he's a DJ anyway. He does it professionally. So I took advantage of that. And in my script, I wrote that the characters, slight spoiler, the characters in my film go to rob a club. So, it kind of killed two birds with one stone in that sense. But thank you for the compliment. It's some of the best lighting I've ever gotten for any of my films. So it really is about who you know. If you can make use of your assets, then you really ought to. Where does the Wizarding World movies go now that Fantastic Beasts is scrapped? It's not officially been scrapped, but as far as we know, it's been scrapped. There's been no official announcement to say 4 and 5 are cancelled, but it's looking that way, considering the poor box office takings of The Secret to Dumbledore. I think, to be fair, they might well do something else in the Wizarding World. I mean, look, they're making the Harry Potter series on HBO. That's the next thing they're going to do. Some people seem up for that. Others don't. I'm not up for it because it's just retelling the original 7 books. Why? Who knows? I would much rather have them done a different series, do like a Marauders series, or do something way back that predates Potter and even predates Fantastic Beasts, and do something that's like historical, because that would be really interesting. But I don't know. I mean, it depends. And also, J.K. Rowling's not really doing herself any favors with her controversial opinions. So she's lost, I think, some of her followers. So I don't know where it's going to go. There might be a Cursed Child film. There might not. We'll see. If Kung Fu Panda 5 happens, which is likely, where would you like to see the story go? I don't really know, because I feel like the story's done. I felt like it was exhausted with the 4th one. It was done with 3. I feel like 3 was the perfect endpoint for Poe. It feels like it won't be Kung Fu Panda, it'll be Kung Fu Fox. If you know what if you've seen the 4th movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I really feel like 5 would just be one too many. I mean, 4 was one too many. 5 would be way too many. I think that it would have to be Poe retiring. I mean, he kind of is retired anyway. There's nowhere for the story to go. It's essentially Kung Fu Panda 3 had Poe become the leader at the end, almost, become one spiritually by earning the staff, which made him Master Chi. So he kind of did become a spiritual leader. The 4th movie recycled that by saying, you need to give up being the Dragon Warrior and then hand it over to someone else and you become the spiritual leaders. We've kind of already done that. So we're just kind of retreading things that we've already done. So it's at this point where I said in my review, Kung Fu Panda 4, it's at this point where the franchise needs to stop, because they have no more ideas. Or why don't they just make a show instead? Do a spin-off series with Zhen or something if they really want to continue it. But I feel like Jack Black should retire it now. It's enough is enough, personally. I've got into the old Superman movies lately, blah, blah, blah. I think I saw the Richard Donner cut. I'm not entirely sure. It's been a few years since I've seen it, but I have seen Superman 2, and it probably is the best one, to be fair. So whichever cut you watch, it's going to be really good. After Superman 2, goes down after that. Although Returns is pretty good, but it's not as good as the first 2. Thank you. Oh, God, yes, the Pink Panther reviews. Fun. Yeah, the Pink Panther franchise. Very mixed bag of films. Half of them are good, half of them are shit, which is very weird. Oh, good for you, Godzilla fan. I hope you enjoyed reviewing the Planet of the Apes trilogy. Oh, God, yeah. Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes is absolute ape shit. It's terrible. It's one of the worst movies ever made. It's not only the worst of the Apes franchise. Yeah, I stand by it. It's one of the worst films ever made. It's probably one of Tim Burton's worst films as well. It's fucking crazy. It's like apes at a rave. I really don't get it. I feel like it's really stupid. Do you think the MCU and Star Wars will ever be well liked again? Well, Star Wars is doing quite well with the series, so that's fine. MCU, if they just take a break and think about what they're doing, have a few years off, and then come back, reinvigorate people's interest. I feel like Kevin Feige is becoming more aware now that the oversaturation of content is not working, and people are getting tired. So I think it's better to take your time, and then plan ahead rather than let's just shovel this out, keep people interested, because the quality won't be as good. They need to put more time into it. Fair enough, Cusack, that's your opinion, but you're not going to change my mind. I didn't hear the Bambi remake was cancelled, but I'm not going to be upset about that. Oh, God, the Bambi horror film. I'm guessing it's going to be a sequel to Pooh, Blood and Honey, and all of that stuff, but who knows. Yeah, Tim Burton has a really bad reputation for remakes. Like, he's not a bad filmmaker. I like some of his stuff. His Batman films are incredible, but his remakes are shocking. His Dumbo remake isn't the worst one. I actually think that's one of his better ones, but it's still mediocre. The rest of them suck. I hate his Alice in Wonderland film. God, you'd think that sort of film would fit Tim Burton like a glove, but it really doesn't. Oh, God. Yeah. But his Planet of the Apes one, God, that is a mess. And that's not even a remake. It's more of a reimagining, but it still sucks. Yeah, I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger in Planet of the Apes, I'm guessing the only way to do that right is to make it R-rated and have him fucking shoot those apes together song. Oh, I can just imagine it being some kind of parody. Not that Tim Burton's one isn't a parody. No, I think the way they approached it in the 2010s with Rise and Dawn and War was the best way to do it. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, Beetlejuice 2. I've not even seen the first one, so I do need to see that. Oh, why do I keep losing these questions? Most toxic fan base you've ever been a part of? Star Wars. # The Last Jedi. Enough said. Did Disney scrap the Snow White remake? I don't think so. I think they delayed it. I think it's meant to come. It was meant to be out this year, but I think it's coming out next year. I believe. I mean, don't quote me on it. I like the Basilisk of Harry Potter. Oh, the Basilisk is very important. I'm not going to spoil anything if you haven't read the books or seen the rest of the movies, but there is a part of the Basilisk that is very, very important in the story later down the line, as in the overall story of the saga. So do pay attention for that. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes to find out. But basically, this one, I believe, is about an ape civil war. So it depends on the drama and depends on how well it's done. We'll see. It still looks technically impressive, so that's nice. But yeah, not all the apes are going to be bad. It's like, if I watched Dawn of the Planet of the Apes today because I've reviewed it on my other channel, and what I noticed about the script was how not black and white it is in terms of characters' motivations. Everybody is an asshole to someone. They're all in this apocalypse, for themselves, really. And everyone's going to have a different opinion of each other. So the writing is really good. I think if you write the script properly, everybody's character motivations will be clear, then it may not feel so stale. So we'll see. Biggest redeeming quality in Batman and Robin? Alfred, easily. Why is Awkwafina cast in everything? Oh, yeah, don't even go there. We won't talk about the Scuttlebutt song because I'm still having nightmares about that. Since Sean Connery turned down Lord of the Rings, The Matrix, and Jurassic Park, how would you rank those three of most least he would have been great in? I think, oh gosh, I think he would have been least great in Lord of the Rings. Can you imagine him as Gandalf? You shall not pass, lass. No, I can't see that. I think he would have been pretty good in Jurassic Park, but I think he would have been the best in The Matrix because he could have played some kind of villain. Mr. Anderson. Thoughts on Hogwarts Legacy? Pretty good. Honestly, pretty good. I never finished it, so I can't give a full opinion, but graphically, it's not the best game, but in terms of what the game offers, it's pretty great. There's, you can fly, you can explore Hogsmeade, you can explore Hogwarts, you become your own character. The story, I never really played it for the story. I feel like the story is kind of boring, but the experience of the world is what I love about the game. So overall, it's a solid effort, and I'm glad the sales went through the roof. So thank God for that. Thoughts on Night at the Museum reboot? Unnecessary. To me, Night at the Museum was fine as one movie. I don't like the sequels that much. I feel like the second one is ridiculous. The third one is a wafer thin improvement. It's okay. It's a bit better, but it didn't need to be a trilogy. And I haven't seen the animation, so to me, Night at the Museum was a fun one-film adventure, but it didn't need to go on beyond that. But whatever. If they do reboot it, I doubt Ben Stiller will be in it. Top 3 movie composers. Ooh, very good question. Obviously, John Williams goes without saying. Michael Giacchino, I think, would be my next one. And gosh, there's a lot to choose from here. Oh gosh, to choose 3 would be very difficult. Who's my third one? I'm going to go with James Newton Howard. Yes, those are my 3. Did you watch Trainspotting 2? Haven't seen it yet. Sorry. I've seen the first one, but not the second one. Do you want to see Ben Kingsley as a Bond villain? Actually, you know what? Ben Kingsley should be the next Blofeld. He would be great as Blofeld, I think, for the new Bond. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but he really would be a great choice, don't you think? You might not remember the music, but can you say a movie that you don't like but like the music? Like Star Trek Nemesis has a great score. It's funny you mentioned Star Trek because I was just thinking I don't like Insurrection, but I love the soundtrack. The soundtrack is beautiful. It doesn't change my opinion of how crap the movie is, but the music is brilliant. Similarly, a lot of people say they don't like X-Men 3, but they love the music. I absolutely love the soundtrack to X-Men 3. I actually think the movie's all right, on certain levels. But yeah. What's better, the original Star Wars trilogy or Planet of the Apes trilogy? Oof, it's a very good question. They're both fantastic for very different reasons. I might give the slight edge to Star Wars because I grew up watching them and they really helped me gain a love of movies and a love of Star Wars. So it's been a part of me longer. But I do love the Planet of the Apes movies. Absolutely. The new ones. Yeah, there's been nothing about Bond 26. Don't know. Maybe they're still searching for the new Bond. No idea at this rate, but hopefully we'll hear something soon. Hardest part of being a young filmmaker? Budget. Honestly, it's lack of money. Me, I'm very fortunate that I was able to make a feature Bond film, and I'm able to make a feature again because I know so many actors. And the reason I know so many actors is because I do acting myself as part of amateur theatre. Funny enough, next week I'm actually doing a show. Amateur theatre, you pay to do it. You do it for fun. You don't get paid to do it. You have to pay to be a part of a group that regularly perform. It's something I've done for about 8 years. I mean, I've been acting since I was 11, but I joined this particular group 8 years ago. So almost the whole decade of my life, I've been devoted to this group because they welcomed me. And they gave me great opportunities. And you honestly do it for fun. So I chose my actors for my film based on the people I know that do acting for a love. So they wouldn't mind if I don't pay them because I can't pay them. So you have to use what you've got. And that's where I am very, very lucky that I get to use actors like that. So the reason why you see a lot of people in Financial Temptation trailer is because they are my actors. They are my friends. And there's some shots of the club where there's extras. This is the first movie I've actually used extras. And they're like dancing in the club. It's brilliant. I couldn't be more thankful that it worked. It was a difficult day to organize. And with your projects, you have to be meticulously organized. It's so difficult. You need to know a little bit of fundamentals, but surround yourself with the right people and it will work. Trust me. I also know other people that are willing to crew as well. And everybody's doing it because they want to be there. They not just to help me, but they genuinely enjoy it as well. So, I just love being in an environment where I can manage my own project, but people enjoy it. People really get invested in it, and there's nothing greater than seeing people have a good laugh and smile, and it's brilliant. And the all that work compresses into, well, in the case of my last Bond film, it was over 2 hours long. So all of that work compressed into that amount of time. It really is amazing what you can create if you put your mind to it. Sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent there, but yeah, I do genuinely love being a young filmmaker. And also, you don't have the restrictions of a studio. Obviously, be aware of copyright, so create your own soundtrack, lesson learned. But yeah, you don't always need a budget to make a great film. You need an idea, that's great. But when you write the script, you need to think about maximizing your idea on a low budget. Or unless you know somebody with shed loads of cash, which I don't imagine you would. I don't know, but I don't. So I have to use who I know. And this uncle who's a DJ in my new film was in my Bond film as Oddjob, and he provided an Aston Martin. Yeah. So that was exciting. Which Disney film do you think is unlikely to get a live action remake? Maybe Treasure Planet. I don't think that's going to get a remake. As much as I enjoy the film, I don't remember it being one of the most popular ones. I mean, I hope it doesn't get a remake because it doesn't need one. I didn't really see much of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I'm sorry, I only saw like individual episodes, so I couldn't really answer that question. Sorry about that. Is Peter Jackson's King Kong the best King Kong movie? I mean, it's my favorite King Kong movie. Well, not only because Peter Jackson directed it, but mainly because it has heart and soul. It develops Kong as a character. You could argue the 3-hour runtime is a bit overlong, and potentially it is a bit overlong in the first act, but I still feel like it works because we get enough development with the humans. I think giving it an extended cut was a really big mistake, but it is a spectacular ride once it gets going, and it's incredibly emotional, especially the third act on the Empire State Building. It is impressive. You can tell the guy loves King Kong, otherwise it wouldn't have been so long. I don't know if Peter Jackson is retired or whether he is working on things as a producer, or I don't know. I feel like Warner Brothers have been speaking to him about the new Lord of the Rings movies, so potentially he'll go back to Middle Earth. I think there's a good chance that he will return there if he really needs the money, but potentially he's just been taking a break, maybe just been spending time with his family. I mean, he's got the money, he can he can afford to, so yeah, we'll see. I'd love him to make another film, but we'll see how it goes. Thoughts on Michael Caine retiring? Sad to see him go, but it's the right time. I think he's getting quite old now, and I think it's probably time for him to have a break. So good on him. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. HBO. Yeah. I mean, Kung Fu Panda 4. I agree. Although I quite like Toy Story 4. They didn't need to make it, but they got away with it, in my opinion. But making another one, no. Thoughts on the Joker trailer? Haven't yet watched it. I will watch it, I promise. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the War of the Rohirrim. I'll give it a watch. I like watching Lord of the Rings. Although the Rings of Power was crap. I really didn't enjoy that show. I mean, it was beautiful. It looked amazing, and the acting was stellar. But the scripts were so boring. It was such a slow drag of a series that really just built to something that we already knew, which was fucking Sauron. It's in the title. The Rings of Power. But the show is anything but powerful. Sadly, it was just too meandering. That was its problem. Bugger it! I can't. Fuck's sake! All these questions. I've lost where I am. What 2024 movies have you seen so far? I've obviously Kung Fu Panda 4, which I've already mentioned. I saw Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was meh. I saw Godzilla and Kong, which was fine. It was decent. What else have I seen this year? Civil War. which is pointless. I'm not sure what else I've seen this year. I probably have seen more things, but I'm trying to think what else I saw. I'll see some more movies eventually. Those are the only ones I can remember. There's a Nolan making a Bond movie. Yes, I would be up for that. I think if there's ever a time to grab Nolan, it's now, because Oppenheimer, was so successful, won all these Oscars. You want to get a director who's got that talent. My worry is he'd make a narrative that's very complicated, that a lot of the casual viewers would complain and be like, "Oh, this isn't James Bond." But Nolan is a Bond fan, and he's confessed so himself. So, and I think with Daniel Craig now having left the role, starting a new Bond era with Nolan at the helm would be a fantastic decision. Honestly, they should snap him up right now. Maybe that's why we haven't heard anything about Bond 26, is because maybe they're trying to talk to Christopher Nolan about getting him in as a director and then casting the new Bond. Fingers crossed, that's what's going on, but we haven't heard. Is Nolan the best modern filmmaker today? Arguably, yes. There are some other great ones, I'm sure, but he's definitely up there. I can't remember exactly how it ended, to be honest, man. I'm sorry. It's been years since I've seen it. Tim Burton had to write that because he is a damn dirty ape. That's why. Well, that's an impressive amount of movies. Congratulations on tallying that all up. Has Johnny Depp quit Hollywood? No. I think he is in a new film, like a period drama that's coming out. He plays a French aristocrat. I don't exactly know what the film is called, but Johnny Depp is making a resurgence. I mean, he's innocent, after all. It's that bitch that should never work again. But there we are. Oh, the Pooniverse. Oh, God, give me a break. Oh, God's sake. Which film is worse, The Flash or Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes? Probably Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes because it's crazier. Although The Flash is shit as far as I'm concerned. I think they might try and sneak Johnny Depp in there somehow. He may not have a main role, but if they give him a cameo at least, that'll keep people happy. But it will be different without Johnny Depp. And I feel like the series got a little bit tired with Salazar's Revenge, or Dead Men Tell No Tales, whatever you want to call it. My honest opinion of Pirates is, on reflection, I really like the original trilogy. I think that they work as a trilogy, and the story is very well told. But I think four was like, it was fine, but it was just another one on Stranger Tides. It was fun, but the fifth one is probably the weakest. Salazar's Revenge. It's just a bit boring, and despite having a very good opening, the story is very much typical pirates, going after a MacGuffin. So it would be nice to see if we can do something else than pirates finding treasure. Maybe a pirates rescue mission. That would be fun, but we'll see. I feel like Pirates of the Caribbean sort of peaked in the early 2000s with the first three films, especially as they made 2 and 3 back to back. How would you rank these comedy actors? Well, I would rank at the bottom Adam Sandler. I'm not saying he isn't funny, but out of those ones, he's the weakest. I would then probably rank Ben Stiller above Adam Sandler. Then I would do Jim Carrey, then Steve Martin, then Robin Williams. Why are Star Wars fans so toxic? I don't have a magical answer, but I can only assume it's just because they're assholes. No, everybody has a different opinion, which is fine, but I think a lot of them just don't know how to express their opinions in a constructive way, and they feel like ranting about something they disagree with is the only way forward. A lot of people aren't raised to the correct manners or the correct etiquette, which is wrong. That's why I just stay out of drama. Are you looking forward to the next Jurassic World movie? Potentially, yes. I don't know what it would be called, but I'd like to see it do something more ambitious than Dominion. We shall see what happens. But Gareth Edwards, good luck. Best stop motion recommendation: Wallace and Gromit. It's great, and if you want to know out which of the films, I'd say watch Curse of the Were-Rabbit. But there's loads of great short films. There's many other stop motion films that are great. Um, I can't really answer that question yet because I haven't seen Kingdom. But Matt Reeves could well have made Kingdom, but he probably thought, well, he's done 2 Apes movies. What more can he personally do? It probably didn't. It probably does need a fresh set of eyes. But I don't know. It's hard to answer that without seeing the new film. Um, I think it would be interesting to see a new story. Also, because this is set years after War for the Planet of the Apes, which ended Caesar's story. So to see a new story begin with a new protagonist, I think is probably what this series needs. It needs a refresh, which is good. And while it peaked with the last 3 films, let's see what this new one does. I'm willing to give it a chance. I think Caesar's story is over because I thought initially Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was going to be Cornelius, his son, grown up, following his story. But no, it's a brand new protagonist set, like, I think, 300 years after or something. So it's wiped the slate clean in terms of the protagonist and what they will do. So that is nice. But in terms of the actual timeline, yeah, there's a big gap now, isn't there? So they've left like 300 years or whatever. So you know what they're going to do? Disney Plus will make loads of series to fill in the gap. But yeah, I think it's going to be quite telling to see where it goes because the apes are now very established, almost as established as they were in the original 68 movie. So hopefully they reference exactly what's happened over time and we'll see where it goes. But yeah, that's all we can do is see where it goes. But I'm excited and I'm optimistic. Although it is the longest movie of the series, so better be good. Could Andy Serkis come back to the franchise? Well, I don't think he's actually left because I believe he was at the premiere for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and he's I think he's a producer. He must be involved in some of the story elements. He's just not in it this time, which is fair enough. So yeah, Serkis is still very much present. So hopefully that should help keep it somewhat consistent to the last 3 films, which were amazing. Last of Us video games fans are toxic. Yes, they are. I actually really like The Last of Us Part 2. I know not a lot of people do, but it's because they didn't really understand the intentions of the game. It's a story about revenge and forgiveness. You have to see it from different angles, and yeah, they knew that Abby would be a controversial character, but at the end of the day, when you look at the big picture of the series, all these characters are assholes to someone. Again, it's like I said with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, the way they wrote these characters is that they are neither great nor terrible, they're just flawed. It's the best way to write characters, multi-dimensional. Okay, cheers, Dinobot. Best Harry Potter video game? Probably The Chamber of Secrets. It's just the peak of what you want. You follow the story, loads of puzzles, big open, well, not big open world, but an open world of Hogwarts. You feel like you are going to Hogwarts for your second year, which is fantastic. Thoughts on Wonka? Good. I think it's good. I don't think it's perfect, but I did enjoy it. It definitely has vibes of Paddington. I think somebody asked me about Wonka last time. It's made by the same people that made Paddington, so you get that sort of British humor. I didn't really think Timothée Chalamet was the right choice, though. He's a good singer, but I just didn't feel like I didn't see Willy Wonka, to be honest. I think they cast him because he was a pretty boy, so that's my that's my assessment on that. Whoops! Sorry, I just got to change that. It's getting a bit cold. Is Johnny Depp the worst Willy Wonka? Yes. I don't know what it was with Depp, whether it was his decision to characterize it like that, or whether it was Tim Burton's decision, but it just didn't work. As a lot of people said, it comes off as a Michael Jackson impersonation. Yeah, and the voice is very annoying and quite silly, to be honest. So there we are. Favorite Star Wars game? Oh, that's a good question. Probably Star Wars Battlefront 2, although I do like the game of Revenge of the Sith. It's a very good game. Has really good dueling. Um, so those two are well, they were my childhood favorites. But Star Wars has had many good games. Although Lego Star Wars is, they would be the top three. Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original one, not the new one. Lego Star Wars Complete Saga, and Revenge of the Sith for PS2. What was I going to do? How's the weight loss going? Yes, I thought I was on that question next. So I think it's up and down. I feel like I might have put a little bit on recently, but to give you an idea, of how I looked a year ago, you'll see that's I looked pretty terrible. So you'll see in a lot of my old videos as well, my face was more filled out, and I'm still big, I'm still overweight, but it's definitely a lot better than it was. I can move better and I can function better. I do eat better as well. Like I couldn't finish all my lunch today, so yeah. But I have, sometimes I struggle with snacking. So the summer's coming up now, so I'm determined to get back on track because I had some personal problems to deal with. Before anything gets worse in my life, I want to just sort that out. Drink more water. I do drink a lot of fizzy drinks, so I have to cut down on that, if I'm being really honest with myself. But thanks for the compliment. I do feel a lot better, but I need to just get a bit thinner. It would be better in the long term, because when lockdown happened, I was quite depressed, and I put on a lot of weight also due to where I was working and the food that I was consuming. I wasn't thinking about what I was doing, and as a result, I just put on loads of weight and I looked absolutely terrible. But shaved a lot off. I think last time I weighed myself, it was basically I'm 3.5 stone lighter than I was, so which is not bad at all. I might have put a tiny bit more back on. I put a little bit more on over Christmas, but I haven't weighed myself since February, so I need to weigh myself again and then see where I need to go from there. It's such a difficult process. It really is, but the beauty of it is I already do quite a lot of walking. Because I don't drive at the moment, I have to walk everywhere. So a lot of my traveling involves me moving around. And I did get a watch. I didn't initially get this for the weight loss, but it's like a Fitbit watch where it tells me how many calories I've burned and how many steps I've done. I got an award on it for doing like 20,000 steps, so that was quite good. After I've done my show, I'm going to put more stricter measures in place. So I've been lapsing recently just because of personal issues, but hopefully I haven't put too much back on. So yeah, but people will tell me if I have. So yeah, but I think at the moment it's not too bad. I'll have to just be mindful. Sorry, I kept going about that. I thought Hugh Grant was pretty good. Yeah, I liked him. He wasn't in it that much though. Oh god, yes, of course. Love Jerry Goldsmith. Funny you mentioned that, because I watched the Mulan film the other day on Disney Plus, and I love the soundtrack to that film. Not only the songs, but the musical score is amazing. That mountain scene, wow! I love that film. The remake sucks, but the original film from '98 with that score is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But his other music is great too. It's a shame he passed away, but oh well. Yeah, I'd see a sequel to Wonka. Yeah, I think it's good enough for a sequel. The answer is I don't know. I hope it will work. I'd like to think so. We'll see. Broken Arrow. I'll have to look at that. Yeah, I like Hans Zimmer as well. Deadpool and Wolverine looks mediocre. Yeah, I mean, it looks okay. I think I don't know if it'll be as good as the first two, but it looks fine. It'll be nice to see Hugh Jackman back for one more time. I think he's more coming back as a joke rather than taking it seriously. But yeah, his story did end in Logan. But the X-Men films really don't care about the timeline anymore. They really don't. I never saw the Deadpool films as X-Men films, but whatever. Uh, James Horner. Yes, I really like James Horner as a composer. Obviously, he did the first Avatar and did Land Before Time, Titanic as well. Yeah, and his Star Trek scores and Aliens and The Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, he's very good. Well, he was very good. Sorry, he's passed away now. Is Logan Hugh Jackman's best movie? Arguably. Yes, Jerry Goldsmith did the original Planet of the Apes, and he did Escape as well. He's very talented. He was very talented, even. Sorry. Which Spider-Man has the funniest one-liners for you? Probably Tobey Maguire, more just for the way that he delivers them, because he's such a nerd. It's more like if you play the games of the first 3 Spider-Man films, Tobey voices him in the games, and he has some funny lines. There's even one where in the first game, it's not even a one-liner. The way he says it is just funny. When you're fighting the guards, and he's like, "Get back, ugly," in the way that Tobey says it, because he's such a nerd. It doesn't sound so threatening. But yeah, God, he's funny. Why are we getting Despicable Me 4? Because apparently the money says we have to. What the fuck? Where are these questions gone? Oh. Gladiator 2. I'm kind of indifferent towards it because I haven't seen the first one. I have to watch the first one at some point when I get time. Could Denis Villeneuve be the next Christopher Nolan? I think Denis Villeneuve will just be his own thing. I don't think he will be or should be compared to Christopher Nolan. They're 2 very different directors, but both of them together could be 2 of the best directors we have at the moment. So there is that. Dune Part 2, amazing film. Amazing. Yes, the budget, yeah. If any of you guys made films, let me know. I'd love to watch. Send me the link in the chat or let me know in the description. Oh gosh, there's a question there. Superman theme or Batman theme? I'm gonna say the Batman theme. I do love the Superman theme, but I like the Batman theme more. I just think there's more of an energy to it. The Superman one is quite big and bombastic, but it's quite long. I do like it. I do like it though. Did Cillian Murphy deserve Best Actor for Oppenheimer? Honestly, yeah, probably. I would say very good performance as Oppenheimer. You see every sort of stage of his life, and then the aftermath, I think, is more interesting. After he psychologically he thinks, "Oh shit, what have I done? I've created this weapon of mass murder, and I have to live with that now." The psychological effect that it has on him, I think, is very good. It's very well played, so to say. And there's a reason why the movie is 3 hours long, and it's because of you need to see the whole journey. I prefer Kong Skull Island. Fair enough. I just think Jackson's Kong wins on emotion, on the heart. Kong Skull Island to me is generic. I just personally found it boring. But it's just me. Dune 2 or Blade Runner 2049? Probably Dune Part 2, actually. That's probably my preferred one. Favorite J. Jonah Jameson line or scene? Well, one of my favorite lines is obviously when he laughs at Peter after he asks for an advance. But my favorite scene of JJ is the pills in Spider-Man 3. That's hilarious. Is Ridley at least give credit to Skull Island. It wasn't the same story as I wouldn't know about sorry, you mean okay, I misread that. Well, Kong Skull Island wasn't meant to be a remake of King Kong, so I'm only comparing it really based on the fact that it is a King Kong movie. Is Ridley Scott's Blade Runner better than Denis Villeneuve's? Honestly, I know a lot of people disagree, but I prefer the second one. I prefer 2049. Despite the fact that it's longer, I just found it more immersive, and I thought the story was better. I found the first Blade Runner really slow. And it's supposed to be slow, but I might need to rewatch it to fully digest it. I mean, the world is amazing. The concept is brilliant. But, yeah, I've not watched them for a long time. I just remember being more engaged and more enraptured by the new one. Is Ezra Miller's career over? To be honest, I hope so. What do you think about the rumors of Andy returning in Toy Story 5? I don't care at this point. If it is true, whatever, because as far as I'm concerned, Toy Story's done. They don't need to make another one. But since you asked, it's better for Andy to not be in it because he's moved on. Toy Story 3 was about him moving on. And it was a true, resolution to the trilogy. It was where he came of age and he didn't need his toys anymore and he moved on. The fourth one was an extension of Woody's story, which is why I quite like it, is because it serves as a decent epilogue to that. Was it necessary? No, but did it work? I would say so. But beyond that, yeah, the fifth one, there's nowhere for it to go. So, whatever. Favorite Edgar Wright movie? I've not seen all of his films, but out of the ones I've seen, Hot Fuzz, it's just hilarious. Yeah, well, when Craig took on the role of Bond, remember he was in his 30s, but because of the gaps between his films, he finished when he was in his 50s, which was just about the time you can get away with playing Bond. If you go into your 50s, you have to really ask yourself, can you do this anymore? I think they'll cast somebody who is in their no younger than their late 20s, potentially their early 30s. That would be better, really. But I don't care about Amber Heard, so whatever. Is George Lucas retired? Probably. Yeah, I would say so. I don't know exactly what the guy's doing now, but yeah. Pirates should have ended as a trilogy. To be honest, yeah, probably. At World's End was the last one. It wraps up quite nicely. Gore Verbinski's trilogy is really kind of a self-contained series all on its own. The fourth is just another adventure with Jack, and the fifth tries to connect to the first three. So the new ones, to me, don't add a huge amount. The fifth one adds a bit more to the overarching story elements, but On Stranger Tides feels the most kind of individual, if that makes sense. Aside from some plot points about like Jack and Barbossa after the third film, but yeah, we'll see. If the new one is to be any good, we'll wait and see. But I don't know. Who's a better villain, Davy Jones or Hector Barbossa? That's a good question. I like Davy Jones more just because, well, the design for one thing is amazing, and the tragedy of that character. Because I've never really seen him as a villain. He becomes a villain because of his heartbreak, and I think that's really interesting. How he was in love with Calypso, and how his heart was broken after he waited for her, and he just turned into a monster, literally and emotionally, because he really loved her. And it's actually a tragic story, really. And when he dies, and he says her name, it's like he knows he can go and be with her again, which is really quite beautiful. But the effort they went to with that character was amazing. I think Spider-Man 3 would have been better as 2 films. If they were to have included everything, yes. But if they were to chop out some of the overbearing plot points, then no. Because... so what was I saying? Okay, no. So let me start again. So I think, will it have been better as 2 films? Yes, if they were to chop out some of the overbearing plot points. Oh God, I'm lost. So do I think it would have been better as 2 films? It should have stayed as 1 film if they were to chop out some of the overbearing plot points. It should have been 2 films if they wanted to keep everything they had. So there's my answer, really. It depends on how they would have done it. Why does Jason Statham play himself in every movie? Because he can't fucking act, that's why. Are we getting the Batman 2? No, we are getting a Batman 2. It's confirmed. I don't think it's this year. I think it's next year. Most tired franchise. Oh, gosh. There's several. Despicable Me. Very tired. The MCU is getting a bit tired. What else? Star Wars, I guess you could say. There's a few. There's a few out there. Well, some good choices there. I mean, to be fair, most of the Jurassic Park soundtracks are the same, so I would just include the whole franchise personally. TMNT 2007, and not everybody rates that as their favorite movie soundtrack, but it has got a good score. Yeah, the first Transformers has got a good score. Mulan, yeah, good choices. Dead Man's Chest, yeah, very good choice. One of the best tracks is Wheel of Fortune. It's the track for when the three guys are fighting in the wheel and it's going around. I mean, it's basically the Pirates of the Caribbean theme. But the music when they're on the beach and then they chase each other into the tower is pretty cool. It's pretty bold that Pirates of the Caribbean attempted a three-way sword fight. That's pretty rad. Yes, Tim Burton's Apes was the last Bad Apes film. I believe another Star Trek film has been talked about. I don't know if you've seen the articles. There's the rumor that it's now back on. It was on and then it was off, and who knows. I don't think it will have the same cast, though. I imagine they'll probably just do another reboot. Who knows? I mean, the three new films are quite good, but they're more action films. They're kind of straying away from what Star Trek was, particularly Star Trek Beyond. Of the three new films, the best one is probably the first one. Into Darkness was good, although it was kind of a rip-off of Wrath of Khan, and Beyond was fun. It had some good character moments, but it was more of a second-rate action movie. It's directed by the guy that made Fast and Furious, Justin Lin, so not particularly very Star Trek-esque as far as I'm concerned. My favorite Nolan film, oh gosh, probably The Dark Knight, for obvious reasons. Is Dunkirk the worst Nolan movie? Well, it's my least favorite one. I would say it's his weakest. Is 1917 Sam Mendes' best film? In my opinion, Skyfall is Sam Mendes' best film. Although I have seen American Beauty. I watched that over Christmas, and I really enjoyed that film. I will have to talk about that one day on my new channel. Do you know I've seen anything else Gene Wilder was in other than Willy Wonka? I saw The Producers. He was very funny in that. Do you still have a PS5 or still on PS4? Unfortunately, I had to sell PS5. I just can't afford it at the moment. Being a student, I have to stick with what I've got. So when I'm in full-time employment and I'm earning more money, then I can maybe get it back. We'll have to wait and see. But honestly, gaming isn't my priority at the moment. I don't really game that much, to be fair. Best Steven Spielberg movie. Oh, God. That's a tricky one. Probably Schindler's List. Very powerful movie. Very powerful film. Favorite Sam Raimi movie? Spider-Man 2. Easily. Tell me how this show sounds by the premise. Millennium. It involves a guy who is a profiler that can see the POV of the killers. The same universe as the X-Files. Interesting. In what way can they see a POV of the killers? Is that something psychological or is that something technological? Like, is he wearing a device that can see, or does he psychologically interpret what they're going to do? Is this character like I guess you could say like a fortune teller, or like someone who can foresee things? It does sound intriguing, but by that I can't gauge too much of what it's about. And also, why is it called Millennium? Let me know. I'd love to know more. Monsters Inc. or Ratatouille? If you're asking me which one's better, Monsters Inc. But I do like Ratatouille. Yeah, I mean, Inside Out 2, it looks as though it's Riley's adolescence. That's pretty much what it is. The first one was her moving house and adjusting to a new life in a new city. I mean, Inside Out is very much a story about mental health. And that's what this second one will probably be as well. But more on about her being a teenager. May not be able to go for too longer, guys. I do have other things on. My voice is getting a bit dry, so forgive me if I can't answer all your questions today. Yeah, I mean, certainly the fifth Pirates movie is Johnny Depp's weakest performance. I mean, Johnny's great. He made it his own, and you can tell it means a lot to him. But there comes to a point where you do have to think, how much more of this can I do? And he's probably getting too old for it as well now. Yeah, I think he's 60, Johnny Depp. He's in his 60s, so he doesn't really have the energy for it anymore. If he is to come back in Pirates, it probably would be as a cameo. It would be nice to see Captain Jack get some kind of ending, maybe settle down or something, retire from the seas, because I mean he's already been killed once and brought back to life, so it doesn't really matter in Pirates if people die. You can always go back to Davy Jones' locker and get them back. So yeah, Jesus Christ. I mean, good on Awkwafina for getting all the work. She's gonna be so rich. Favorite sequels not based on books. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is one of my favorite sequels, not based on a book. Think of other ones. I guess I don't know. I'm trying to think. Yeah, Spider-Man 2. There'll be another one. The Dark Knight. You know, there's a few. Is The Wizard of Oz the best musical ever? I wouldn't say the best, but it's a pretty good one. Yeah, no. Actually, rewatching the film the other day, I've grown to like Sean Yu a little bit more. He's still brief in terms of his scenes in the movie, but yeah, and I think the music serves him quite well. He's quite a physically intimidating character, but beyond that, we don't get to know much about him in the film. Guy Ritchie's Aladdin is very mediocre. Guy Ritchie was such an odd choice to direct a musical. Favorite character from Flushed Away? Oh gosh, many characters. I like Le Frog, the French frog, voiced by Jean Reno. Oh god, but I think Spike and Whitey are my favorites. The two henchmen rats, they are funny. But there's so many funny characters in Flushed Away. Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes or the Lion King remake. I mean, as bad as the Lion King remake is, I think Tim Burton's Apes movie is worse just because it's so crazy. It just doesn't stop. It goes out of control and it stays out of control. Is Conquest of the Planet of the Apes underrated? No. I think Jerry and James would have done great Bond scores. It would have been interesting to hear that. Obviously, with Bond scores, there's certain similarities in there, but for the most part, you can do what you want with it. Oh god, thoughts of the ending on Oppenheimer. What's the deeper message? Oh shit, that's a difficult question. That's a very difficult question. There's so much information in Oppenheimer to digest. I don't know if I could answer that question yet. But I guess what I got from it is that maybe it's not to do with the ending of the film, but the overall film, the message I got from it was be careful what you wish for, because the way that Oppenheimer approached this was for scientific purposes and to aid themselves in military purposes for the war. But what he hadn't thought about was the consequence of it falling into the wrong hands. And that's the conflict that he has to deal with at the end when he hands it over to the military. And he's like, shit, I've created the weapon that could destroy the world. You know, there is that. So it's that kind of argument, really. That's that morality is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, no worries. As I said, I will do my best to check the film out for you. Rank the Dark Knight villains. I mean, I like all of them, just to be clear, but it goes Tom Hardy, Liam Neeson, then Heath Ledger from worst to best. I don't know, Dinobot. It depends. Everybody has a subjective opinion, so I wouldn't say so. I mean, if you don't think you give new movies a chance, that's kind of on you, really. I don't really know how to answer that. I don't think you can be too cynical, I suppose, when it comes to films, because it is subjective. There has been, I mean, last summer I felt there was a real dip in quality. Certainly around the time when Indiana Jones came out, and I just said, oh, this is a summer of real disappointments. So it depends. Saddest movie ending. Oh God. On Her Majesty's Secret Service has got a very sad ending. Escape from the Planet of the Apes is a sad ending. Whether it's the saddest ending, I don't know, but yeah. And also, I think Return of the King, when Frodo passes into the Undying Lands, that's very sad. I've always found that quite sad. Was No Time to Die ending canon? For me, yes. But then, if you choose it to be non-canon, you can just choose it to be canon within the Craig era, because the Craig era is quite self-contained. I haven't yet seen Hunt for Red October. Sorry about that. Favorite piece of Dead Man's Chest? I think I kind of alluded to this earlier. It's not on the official released soundtrack, but it's the Fight for the Key, and which is the three-way fight between the guys. Although the Kraken theme is amazing, I love the Kraken theme. But yeah, look up on YouTube Fight for the Key, and then also Wheel of Fortune. They're two separate tracks, but they basically could be one. Covers the three-way fight, but there's so many great tracks. There is an argument to be made that Lucas could be slightly anti-Semitic and slightly racist, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I don't believe that was the initial intention, but if you watch that clip of him saying I've gone too far in a few places, he probably realized, oh, this is going to rub people up the wrong way, but it was too late to change it. So he's got to live in hope that not everybody accuses him of that. But I do believe that in The Phantom Menace, unintentionally or not, some of the characters are stereotypes. Although Phantom Menace is re-releasing for its anniversary. Who's going to go and see it in the cinema? I will. Only because I can see it for free. And to hear that music on the big screen and the Duel of the Fates, I'm going for that reason really more than anything else. Thoughts on a rumored new Ice Age movie? Enough said. Alec Guinness or Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan? Oh, I like them both, man. I mean, my heart kind of belongs to Ewan McGregor because I grew up with him as my Obi-Wan because the prequels were made when I was young. So I'm more attached to him. But I do love Alec Guinness, though he's only been in one film. So, yeah. Favorite action scene in a Michael Bay film? I think as much as people give the film shit, the forest fight in Revenge of the Fallen is pretty fun. Will they do an Obi-Wan series 2? I believe Ewan McGregor has confirmed he will play the role again. So, yeah. Best Star Wars prequel character? Well, other than Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by Ewan McGregor, potentially, I mean, Darth Maul is very popular as well. So, yeah, I'll say Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I personally don't like the Lost World score that much. I like the Jurassic Park theme in it. I feel like it's dull. The music in the Lost World I find kind of dull. It just goes dun 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 dun. I don't know, it's just a bit boring for me. But the other Jurassic Park movies have great soundtracks. Are the prequels as bad as everyone says? I don't think so. I don't think they're god awful. They're pretty poor, but I grew up with them. I have a bit more of an attachment. Over time, I have noticed the flaws. Let's put it that way. I've noticed how flawed the prequels are, but I don't think that they are disgraceful, like some people say. Revenge of the Sith, I actually would still say is decent. Is decent. It's not perfect, but it's good enough to end the trilogy. Excuse me. And it's easily the best of the three, and it's the most entertaining. You can watch the prequels and be entertained for the most part. Although The Phantom Menace is kind of boring in places, and so is Attack of the Clones. So pick your moments. All right, guys, I'm going to go for 5 more minutes, and I'm going to stop because I'm not very well at the moment. I've got a cough, so my voice isn't the best. So sorry to say. Oh, Class Battle It. I didn't know that. No, that's interesting. Wow. No. Interesting. I'll have to listen to the TMNT soundtrack again. Prehistorical creatures would you want to see in a revival of Primeval? The Future Predator, the Gorgonopsid, Rex would be nice. Personally, the three newer Trek movies is wannabe Star Wars. Yeah, a lot of people said that. At the time when Force Awakens came out, one of my college friends said to me, basically, J.J. Abrams is 2009 Star Trek was a wannabe Star Wars. It was just auditioning to direct Star Wars, and you can kind of see that. The new films tried to appeal more to mainstream audiences with the action, which I can understand. I'm not a Trekkie. Like, I've watched all the films. I've watched the 10 previous films and then the 3 new ones. They're fine. I quite like them. There are some that are better than others. Wrath of Khan is really, really good. I saw that in the cinema when it was re-released. But I've never been into the Star Trek series. Maybe I'll have to watch those at some point. Ted TV series? No, I'm not actually interested in that, funny enough. Maybe I'll rant on the new Megamind. I've not seen it yet, but is it on Netflix? There you go, I'll have to watch it. Oh, okay. Interesting idea with Millennium. Interesting concept. I like it. Thoughts on Guy Ritchie directing the Hercules remake? I mean, is this confirmed, or is this just... Are you asking me if he were directing it, what would I think? I think I would expect something similar to Aladdin, but I'd like to be surprised. I don't know if musicals are Guy Ritchie's forte, but if he gets the opportunity, I'd like to see him give it a go. But my expectations would be low. Favorite Gandalf line: "You shall not pass." Quite obvious there. I would like to see Primeval come back. I think it needs to be rebooted though. I don't think they could continue from where Series 5 ended. Series 4 and 5 were honestly terrible. They really were just disappointing. 3 was okay, but it was a bit of a mess in some of the structure. The first 2 series are honestly the best of Primeval, as far as I'm concerned. I've not seen New World, and I don't care to see it. Yeah, Michael Caine would have been interesting in a Bond film. Idris Elba's too old to be James Bond. He could be a villain, though. There's nothing to say he couldn't be a villain. Saddest music movie track? Oh, God, several. Anakin's betrayal is quite sad in Revenge of the Sith. Some of the tracks from Potter are quite sad. I need to think about it. I'm thinking about seeing The Phantom Menace. Oh, good. Yeah, why not? I mean, it's not the greatest Star Wars film ever. I mean, nobody puts The Phantom Menace as their favorite Star Wars film, but it's fun, isn't it? Like, there are parts of it which are quite good. The finale, for one thing. It's the first 2 acts that are boring. When we get to Tatooine and Coruscant, that's when it drags. Oh, God, that's when it really drags. But, I get that it was a setup film and, but the plot is about taxation. It's kind of crazy. But there we are. It's fun to watch. And the music by John Williams, it's worth going just for that. Yes, I remember Ted 2. That was quite a funny scene. Oh, yeah, Revenge of the Sith. Easily. The best of the prequels. Well done, George. It ain't perfect. It'll do, George. It'll do. Favorite Nickelodeon movie? Well, I'm not sure how many I've seen. I remember when I was a kid, I saw the Jimmy Neutron film, which, looking back on it, the animation is so bad. Probably the SpongeBob film. I saw that when I was young in the cinema. My dad took me and my sister to watch it, and it's quite a fun experience. New Ted series on Peacock. All right, I don't have Peacock, so sorry, I won't be able to watch it. Favorite Lord of the Rings character not from the Fellowship? Good question. Probably Gollum, just because of the psychological aspects to his character. Very impressive character. He's not a nice character, but he's very impressive. Okay, I will stop very soon, guys. So there's no point sending me any more questions because, sorry, voice is getting dry. Thank you very much. Yeah, Primeval. I mean, I'm studying film at the moment. If I ever do make it into television, I will pitch the idea to a studio and be like, we need to bring Primeval back. I have a way to do it. Me and my friend Louis have a way to do it. That could work out as a great 6-part series and would just reignite the franchise. Thing is, like, it was ITV's answer to Doctor Who, and there's still a fan base out there. It did well enough to get a big fan base. It's not as big as Doctor Who, obviously, but and I am excited for Doctor Who to come back. But I do believe Doctor Who, this is its last chance. If Ncuti Gatwa fails and if the writing fails, then I think Doctor Who needs to just end because it's had enough chances to carry on. But yes, I really would love Primeval to come back, and especially with the original theme tune. When we got to series 4 and 5, and they changed the titles, oh god, that was so disappointing. I think just when it got to series 3, they tried to change so many things, and it was starting to fall apart. But then series 4 and 5 killed it because the scripts were rubbish for the most part. But there were individual moments that were quite good, but it needs fresh ideas. So yeah, if I'm ever in a fortunate enough position to pitch it to a studio, then I will do that. But we will have to wait and see. Oh, hi, Jermaine. Nice to see you. Yes, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's it's on my list. I can't wait to see it. It comes out in like 2 weeks, which is crazy. Oh, and with a Cineworld Unlimited card, I'll be going more than once. You bet your ass I will, if it's as good as it looks. Yeah, SpongeBob turning 20. The movie, anyway. Did anyone play the game of that film? Because I had the game. It's really difficult for a game that's meant to be aimed at young people. It's really, really difficult. But anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to leave it there. But thank you very much all for watching and listening. Stay tuned for another Q&A. And until next time, see ya.